Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to do a simple STEM activity, which now people have turned into STEAM. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting that. Science, technology, engineering, art, and math. So this would be a simple science activity. It's making slime. It's not good for very young children, but I would say 3 and up, depending on your child's level. So what you need is some glue. Now I'm experimenting, and that's what science is all about. I've never tried this kind of glue in making slime. So I'm using glue that I've gotten from the dollar store. Usually I would use white glue, but I happen to have this bottle. You need saline solution. You buy that in the drugstore. It's fairly reasonable. It's a soft contact lens solution, and it does have some hydrogen peroxide in it. And you certainly don't want to let your child drink it. But so this is a supervised activity, and I have some baking powder. I'm sorry, baking soda. So I'm going to pour, I'm not going to make a lot of this. I never make a lot of things with a child because they may or may not enjoy it. And in this case, it may or may not work out. So I'm pouring some of this purple glue into my bowl. And I would say just maybe 1/4 cup is all I'm going to use. And then I'm going to take about 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda and put it in, and I'm going to have my child mix that up. And there it goes. I'm mixing it. And this is a fascinating part with this glue that I didn't know would happen. This glue says that it goes on purple, but it dries clear. So as I'm stirring this, what's happening is it's actually turning white, which would be very fascinating for a child. And then I'm going to add a little saline solution. So far I've added a liquid and a solid. Now I'm adding a little more liquid, a different liquid. So I'm combining 3 things. And this is the experimentation, is now we're going to see what happens. And so it has turned white, which I think is quite interesting, but it doesn't seem to be taking hold the way slime should. It's very liquidy still. It's certainly thicker, but slime should really not be sticky. So that's an interesting opportunity for my child and I to learn that I'm going to try adding a little bit more baking powder. And this is where experimentation comes in. If it doesn't react the way that you think it would, these are very inexpensive materials. You can try changing it up a little bit and seeing what will happen. So we've already seen that the purple turned to white, which I think is very fascinating. And now I'm seeing what happens, and it is thickening up when I added a little more baking soda. So it's a little more slime-like. I'm going to add a little more saline. And this is, like I say, where your child and you are experimenting by mixing ingredients, and by observation, you're observing what happened. When I added baking soda, the glue turned white. When I added a little baking soda and a little saline solution, it was still quite liquidy, but now I've added more baking soda and more saline solution, and I'm actually able to make a ball. So out of those 3 ingredients, I'm able to create another ingredient. And those are the words you want to use: create, mix, observe. So now I'm observing that I've created a material that now is stretchy. Before it wasn't stretchy. It's a solid, and it's not a powder anymore, and it's not a liquid. It's a kind of solid that has properties. So stretching, I'm able to stretch this. I'm able to mold this. Mine's a little wet. And always with slime, remember, you do have to do some kneading of it. And some children will love this as a sensory, some will not. it's not sticky anymore, so it has worked, and it's turned from purple. So if you happen to be able to find this glue in the dollar store, the purple one that it says dries clear, try that out because that's certainly an added bonus. It's certainly interesting. And there we go. I'm squeezing out a bit more of the liquid, and I have a nice piece of slime. And it's stretching. Oh, it fell. You can try stretching it. Oh, and it's ripping apart a little bit. And then when your child tires of that, put it in a baggie and keep it in the fridge. Really, a lot of the joy of slime is in the making of it. And that's why I don't tend to make too much of anything, because a lot of the learning goes from creating, not from actually playing with it, although it's a lovely sensory. Hope you try this activity. It's a great one.